Hi guys, I'm Ed and this is Beachside Retirement. Welcome to my journey. So today I want to talk a little bit about things that I wish younger me would have known, younger you would have known. Imagine going back to when you were 30 or 40 and you could have knew the things that you knew now. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So today I just did a little bit of thinking on it and wanted to share a couple ideas and thoughts. And I think the first thing is I wish when I was younger, like in my 20s, I would have seen the bigger picture. Of course, when you're that old, you're just living for today, maybe living for tomorrow, living for the weekend. But I have a particular thing that happened with me that if I could go back, I would change one thing. Now, I feel pretty good about how my choices and all, but there could have been some better choices. And I distinctly remember being 21 years old. I had a hoopty. I had a 1982 Honda Accord 5-speed hatchback. Great car. It was beat up, but it got me everywhere I needed to go. At the time, I was still living at home. And I had a job with some extra money in the bank. And I made a decision that I kind of wish I could have changed. So I had a friend who was selling his wife's car, older friend. He had a 1984 Trans Am for sale. T-tops, V8, beautiful car, low mileage. They were asking $5,000 for it. And I had $5,000 in the bank. I had the cash ready to go. And because I didn't have that many bills, I thought it was a great idea to maybe have a nice car, so that when I did things with my friends or you just had that nice one to cruise around with. So I bought the car. Now the car was fun. The car was great. But, I'm sure you guys are already knowing. I wish at the time I knew the bigger picture. I would have took that $5,000 and invested it, bought some stocks, put it in the market. And maybe some of you are saying, how would you know that at 21? But the interesting fact is, and I don't know how I did this, but I got into investing when I was 21. I used to go to the library a lot because my mom did. And I read books on what you should do and stuff like that. So anyway, I opened an IRA up for myself at 21 years old. And I think it was $2,000 a year. I think it was the max back then. And I did that. But again, I just wish I could have went back. And even though I did a good thing starting, that 5,000, I wish I'd have done something more with it, because I really didn't need that car. But hey, we all make those decisions. And it was good at the time, but ended up selling it like 2 years later. That's number one for me. Another one I wish I could tell myself or wish I would have did was keeping up with constant contributions to my IRA. Even though I started it young at 21, and I believe for the next 10 or 12, I kept contributing the full amount until I was in my early 30s. But then when I bought my house with my wife and family stuff started coming around, I started taking some of my money and doing other stuff with it. And I wasn't diligent about keeping that maximum contribution going. So, I just retired myself recently, 59 years old here. Glad I started young. But yeah, I really wish I would have kept those contributions going. I just kind of lost focus in the thing. I started back up later on, but I could have did a better job and had a lot more money. But thankful that I started when I did. But that's a big one for me. I wish I'd have kept that going strong. But another one, stuff. I wish I would have limited some of the stuff I got. Not just that car, but like you can see on my guitars behind me, I love those. I've accumulated those along the way. Sometimes it's like, hey, I got a deal, $500, I'll get a good guitar. Or you whatever your hobbies are. Oh, I got to get this thing and get that thing. And, if you're lucky enough to have a house or a place to keep your stuff, inevitably you'll get more stuff. And the older I get, the more I realize the possessions aren't the big deal. You need a couple good things. Nowadays you get a great phone. You can do a lot with a great phone. But stuff, didn't need so much stuff. But maybe the stuff that I really needed, I kept. But I wish someone would have been, hey, you don't really need that one. Take that money, put that here. Then we would all have been good. Maybe another thing for sure would have been diet and exercise and to stay on a straight path with that. Now, again, I don't know how I did it, but when I was 20, 21, I was into working out a lot. After work, I'd work out every day. And I did good for a while. I was a licensed contractor for my career, so I did a lot of physical moving around. As I got older, past the 30, I think, and when I bought my house, you just start doing all that stuff. You work hard enough during the day. So, the physical working out, I didn't always have as much time for. kind of getting back to it now, but I wish I would have really kept on that. But not really the exercise as much as the diet. I'm doing pretty good now. My wife and I, we do a good job with watching what we eat and preparing meals and stuff like that. But I really pay attention to it now. So I wish over the last 20 years, maybe from when I was 40 on, I would have really not as much soda, not as much stuff that, sugary things. So thankfully, things are good so far. I just hope it pans out. But diet is something I definitely wish I would have did that. Another thing, I don't know about you guys, mortgages. So when we bought our house, we got a 30-year mortgage. Wish I would have got a 15. Honestly, I wish I would have did that. Now, at the time when we got our house, when you buy something big like that, you get what you can afford. When we saw that payment broken down to 15 versus 30, we just looked at the payment. And it made things easier. We could afford it. We probably could have did the 15. Things would have been tighter for sure. But as life goes for people and things are differently, we're in our house and next thing you know, at some point you get a home equity loan to consolidate some bills. You do some home remodeling, you put this in, you put that in. And I just wish that I just would have went with the 15 and had the house paid off a long time ago and just did things a little bit different there. So for a lot of reasons, I'm sure you guys are familiar with what I'm saying. That's something I wish somebody would have said, hey, you know what, if you do this, but we did what we could and things are okay. But I just wish I would have made that different decision. Another one I wish I would have did, like probably everybody in the world right now, is buy gold. So when I was in my young 20s, like I said, when I started the investing stuff, I used to buy coins. I'm not sure if you guys ever had somebody in your family that like collected coins or cards or whatever, but I had somebody that collected coins. So I would buy these proof sets. You could get like every year the US Mint would come out with uncirculated coins and I still have them. I have to actually find them and do something with them. But we would go to these shows and buy coins and buy the proof and the mint sets and all that stuff. And I distinctly remember my brother-in-law at the time was talking about gold and buying a little bit of gold. But I think it was like $400 an ounce or something then when I was doing this. And I'm like, oh my God, who can, not really thinking the potential in it. But this is the same time that I started the IRA. So I did have some money around, but just wasn't aware enough, wasn't educated. So wish I would have did that one. Another thing, maybe when I was younger, don't worry so much. I mean, that comes with experience, that comes with life. Easy for me to say now. I talk to my kids now, like we all know, there's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days. And when it's a bad day, you're going to be sad and you're going to worry a little bit. But a lot of times, all the stress that comes with that, I mean, I've had some things with work go on, with relationships with people, just people that were, just not great people. And then you stress out about things going, who said what or whatever. Take a few minutes and stress on it. But beyond that, get over it. When you stress and you let them have that power, they have the power over you. I learned a long time ago, but not long enough, is to don't stress so much. Give it a little bit of your attention, but then move on. If it's out of your control, there's nothing you can do. Easier said than done. But when you stress so much, you just give power to the problem. So I've learned that, and I try to tell my kids and my friends, give it a little bit of time. If you've done everything you can do, that's all you got to worry about, and move on, and you'll be okay. Just don't give the power to the bad stuff. Another one that's important, and I think I did a good job with it, but sometimes I think I could have a little better job, is take more time for the older people in your family, your grandparents and whoever, aunts and uncles, and when you have to take the time with them, take pictures with that family. Nowadays with the phones, and especially over the last 20 years, we get plenty of pictures in our life. But I remember, like, when I was really young, my granddad, he got towards the end of his life. He used to love gardening, which is one of the reasons I love gardening, because of my granddad. And I remember he had trouble moving around and stuff, but he could walk outside and he'd sit in a lawn chair. He had bought some roses, so he wanted to plant a rose garden. And don't know why he chose me. Could have chose anyone. But I went out there for a couple hours. He's like, hey, Ed, over there, the red one. How about we do this one over here? And he was hanging in the chair. And man, I remember those times. That was good times. really was a great memory in my mind. And I just think that I know as life gets busy and you have people that have gone on and passed away, that I wish I would have made a little bit more priority to do a little bit more of that with everybody. So I think I did the best I could. But if I was, talking to 40-year-old you, I'd say, hey, here's what you really want to focus on. I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way. Um, Another thing would be the jobs. Like, not sure your situation, but I took a job when I was 30 years old that was very different for me. It was a chance. My wife and I had already had our house, but I had a chance to make more money. And I just wanted to get out of a job that I had been at a while. And I loved the new job for a little bit, but it was shift work. It's what they called 21 turn. It was a union job. And for 4 years, I did that. And I don't regret it for the money because it let me do things with the house and, gave me a little more flexibility. But what I didn't realize was the time away from my family. And while I was focusing on the money for a little while, what I realized was after 4 years, see, I would work, not everything was a daylight in this job. Like my wife would work daylight. Sometimes I would work 3 to 11. So she would go to work and I'd say bye or whatever. And before she got home, I'm heading into work. So when I come home 11:30 at night, she's asleep. I wake up in the morning, I say hi. It was like a hi and bye, you know? I mean, that sounds like, you could make it work on a daylight, but I was the new guy and I was trying hard. And I learned a lot of the different jobs in there because I thought that's what you're supposed to do, right? Be a good worker. So I'd be on midnight shift. That was even worse because you work all night, you come home, your wife left for work. She comes home and then you want to do stuff and you get up and you have dinner, but then you got to relax a little because you can't use all your energy up. You got to go to work for 8 hours. So I wish I would have thought about it in that context and maybe did it for a year or two, not the 4 years, but we made the best of it and I saw the difference and I left, so I think that was the right decision to make. Another one, I wish I could have told myself that, hey, it's okay to get rid of the people in your life that cause drama, even if it's family. And what I mean about that one is, you ever have like that one person who, I don't want to say like they're a bully or they're an a-hole, excuse my language, or they say the stuff that's not appropriate and you just let them, you don't really want to tell them how you really feel because you might hurt their feelings or they're in your family or they're a close friend of somebody you know and it's going to cause drama. Hell with all that. I don't play that game anymore. I've got grown adults to this day, unfortunately, grown men 60 years old making comments on Facebook that are like high school comments. And I had to get rid of them and meet them face to face and say, hey, not sure what your deal is, but I don't play those games. So it's okay to get rid of bad people. Keep the positive vibes. Don't bring yourself down to anyone else's level. So that takes a while to do, takes a lot of courage. Easier said than done, but that's an important lesson to learn, and you just learn that getting older. Another thing, getting towards the end of this is life's not ever perfect. That's you probably heard some of these sayings, roll with it. It's not about the destination, it's the journey. And that's the truth. I've found out, and again, I teach my kids this all the time. You got to learn to roll with the highs and the lows. Don't ever get too high. Don't ever get too low. Just like I said about the, giving too much of your time to the bad people. Don't waste too much time when it's the low. As long as you do and you try your best, that's all you can do. You can pray, you can hope, you can help other people, but if it's out of your control, don't waste your energy on that. You know what I mean? That takes too much energy, negative energy. Just do the best you can do. Life's going to go, life's going to happen, but you just got to enjoy that journey. And I would have told myself a little bit, hey, and I think I've done a pretty good job with this because I've learned we've had some bad things go on and you know how it goes and you lose a family member, lose a job, don't get a job, just got to roll with it. Appreciate what you got and appreciate the people you have with you. That's a big one. And then I think the last one for me would be to understand if I was like talking to my 30-year-old me, you have to understand the balance of living for today, but also the balance of saving for tomorrow. Now, the reason I say that kind of ties in with some of the stuff I had earlier, like don't know how I got into this again, lucky, when I was 21 and started saving, which allowed me to retire early now. But if I really would have kept that thought going, I would have kept a little more focus on the saving for retirement through the middle of my life and the balance of living for today. Like sometimes it was all in one or all in the other. And I think it's easier. I can sit here in this YouTube video and tell you that. But when you're living for today, you gotta feed your family and pay your bills. That takes precedent. I understand that. But again, what I'm talking about is just like is the big picture. Just sitting back and saying, hey, like this is an honest story. So being a licensed contractor, that's what I am or was. I would work with some younger guys in the trades, younger electricians, plumbers and stuff like that. Guys that have their own business and they're like 35. And I would tell them, even like I probably shouldn't tell them, but I try to impart some of my wisdom, not because I'm trying to say, hey, I'm smarter than you, but because if I thought somebody was a good person, I just said, hey, do you do this? You should do it. But just take the time to do that. If you know somebody, your family, and not force it on them, but just say, hey, man, you're doing pretty good. It looks like you have a good career. Not sure if you ever thought about it, but take the time and tell them some of the things you and I both know. You're probably my age or older if you're watching this retirement video. And I think that's an important thing to do. Talk to your kids, talk to your family. I still say they should have, like in modern school, they should have or even just for younger adults, somebody's got to take the time to talk to them about their money. Just talk to your kids and your family. Make sure, especially if they're doing well, that they're saving. Super important stuff. It allows us to get to where we're at today and then hopefully enjoy the rest of your life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Not too much rambling from me. Consider hitting the like button or subscribing. I love interacting with you guys. Leave comments. Love to hear what you think you would have told yourself if you were 40. Something important to consider. Can't go back, but you can go forward. You can definitely help the people in your family, your kids. You can definitely tell friends. Money's a touchy subject, but if you approach it the right way, maybe not money per se, but it's just about making good decisions. I think you'd have a positive impact on somebody somewhere. You do that for one person, you made a difference. It's a great thing. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Be kind, be safe. Have a great day. Love you guys. See ya.